Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Quite oftentimes you have a few projects that are working together or they are really connected to each other's, and one way of doing it is to completely go separated and create different repositories, or you can just go with this concept of monorepo. Monorepo is basically a single repositories which contains multiple distinct projects. So projects are still separated completely, but somehow they need to talk to each other, or they have some connections. They don't need to most of the time be in, have a direct relationship, but somehow they are connected to each other and you can just really find some relationship between them. And one way of doing it is just to put them in a monorepo, and then if you're going to test something in a locally, or test something on a different environment, or if you really want to just check how they're going to work together, then you can put them in a monorepo. There are quite a lot of tools that take care of monorepo, like Lerna, or I think if you go to the top, there are a lot of tools. You can see a list of them here. So with the rush.js, which is from Microsoft, I've been working for some time, and then I'm going to share what I've been learning. So let's talk about some of the benefits of Rush project. Rush project is going to be very nice and handy if you have a large repo. Does it mean it's not going to work with a small one? No, of course it works very well with small repositories and small projects as well. But it will be very good if you have like a few projects, or if multiple teams are working on the same monorepo. It's going to shine as well. You can give some tags to some of the projects and packages, and it will just automatically with your command, you can just trigger some of them specifically those projects which belong to specific tags. Moving on, it's also very helpful when it comes to phantom dependencies. What is phantom dependencies? Basically, let's say you have a package which is installed locally in your system or globally in your system, but you don't have it in your package.json. And if you're running with npm is not smart enough to find out about the missing dependencies. But Rush is going to give you a warning that for example, that package is missing. And also, assuming that you're using a package like jest as a testing, and this jest in one of the packages or project is version 26, the other one is 27, or even like a minor or even patch version are different, it's going to pick it up and just tell you that they give you like a warning or message again to just tell you that there's a mismatch version on your monorepo. So keeping everything on the same version and ensuring that you never again accidentally import a library that was missing from package. So there is a pair dependencies, dev dependencies. You will check all of them to make sure you have them. Also, it is compatible with pnpm, npm, and yarn packages. So yarn package managers, basically these three are package managers. Very much everybody work with npm because it's come by default with Node.js, but pnpm is gonna be the default one for Rush project. And as you can see, a lot of other projects are using Rush, so rush.js is very good. So let's dive in and build a project, a monorepo project with rush.js. I will create a directory and then call it rush demo, and then cd rush demo cd rush demo. Very good. So we're here, and then the next thing is to install rush.js. Well, because you're going to use Rush in your project and in your system, maybe it's a good idea to install it globally. So one way of doing it, if you go to npm and then look for rush.js, rushjs.io, and then if you go here, okay, so they are also recommending install rush.js globally. So -g is literally for that. And once you have installed rush.js, you are going to have rush help available to you, or -h, and it's going to tell you basically rush is installed and you can use it. But for the sake of this tutorial, we are going to install it one more time. Now that we have rush.js installed completely, the next thing to do is to rush init. It's going to create some files for us. The moment we do this one, I'm going to clear this one and do ls. You can see we have bunch of well, there will be a lot of files in the common, and then we have rush.json. Very soon we're going to look into the content of these two, well, the file and the folder. But before going there, let's just quickly create a git. Well, let's just put control version to the project. I will do git init, open everything like Visual Studio Code, and then we will go from there. Now that the rush is initiated, let's look what directories and files we have. So we have common directory. In common directory, we have config, which we are going to see quite a few things here. And then we're going to see just how we can benefit from Git hooks and what can we do with the Git hooks, maybe in the next video or maybe in this video, I'll see. And then the temp directory is literally doesn't exist when we start. I was just testing some stuff. I'm going to remove it. And then you have git ignore, which is really very normal and default things that rush things in a rush project. This stuff shouldn't be in the control version. And travis.yaml, we don't care about it at the moment and we're not going to use it. And then we have rush.json. Rush.json is where we are going to do a lot of cool stuff. And we're going to do a lot, we're going to add a lot of options. And here you can see we have the rush version, and then we have just out of the bat, we have package management, for example, pnpm, npm, and yarn. Rush.js by default is trying to use pnpm, so we are going to use pnpm as well. Pnpm is much faster than npm in most cases, and also in some cases better than yarn. But as you can see, if your project is already using npm, or if you feel comfortable using npm or yarn, just comment this one and then uncomment the other one. So we don't care at the moment, we're going to use pnpm. And then we have quite a lot of things when we go through the project. So node version and node support version, I'm going to just leave it as it is for time being. The other bit that we care so much is, I want to see it, is projects. Projects is where we're going to add our other projects here. Basically, we're going to just tell Rush, these are the projects that I want to work with in this mon repo. So one way of doing it is very straightforward. So we're going to just create an object, and in the object, very quickly we can just say project name or project directory. We haven't created anything, but let's just create some directory called projects, and then let's call our project, what do we call it, backend and express. So we're going to use express.js as a backend something, and the next thing to do is very straightforward. Then we're going to just call another one, which I literally forgot, is package name. So package name could be on the top, or there is, because it's an object, there is no really order. I am going to call my package name is exactly the same thing, backend express. Well, of course, if I can type backend, and then the next thing is to put the review category. And here we have like a few options. We have production is usually your production. Okay, need to just put comma here. Production is it's your application, for example. This is because it's going to be a backend application, and this would be an application code So this is production. We have other things like tools. Let's say if you have your test, or if you build a library which other projects in this mono repository is going to use it, that could be like tools. We might have some tools in the future when we add more projects to this tutorial, or maybe next videos. And then the other thing is library. If you have a library that you're going to publish, let's say like a HTTP client you're going to create for your API, or other things that maybe consumers from other different teams and different services are going to use it, then you are going to just have here either, as I said, tools, or you can also have library. But for this specific project we're going to build, this is going to be production. And the next thing I'm going to have is should publish. Is it going to be published? Definitely not, because it's not a library, it's an application code, and it's going to be it's not going to be published. I think we don't need this one. Let me go to the back end of the file. Okay, everything is happy. Next thing we need to do is to create these two projects. I'm going to create a directory called projects, and then inside projects I'm going to create another directory which it's going to be backend express. So backend, and this is express. So if I go to backend express now, I'm in the backend express, and as you can see we have project backend express. Let's just quickly create package.json npm init dash dash either y or s, I don't remember exactly. Yes, it's y. So we have package.json as well. It's backend express, really nothing. Next thing we should do is to add some packages or library here. We can just say rush add, and then we're going to add package, because I am inside backend express is going to add it to this package.json. And what do we want? We want express. I'm going to add express. Voila. So we have express. One more project that I want to add is .env. So I could have add all of them at the same time, but I didn't. So let's just add .env. And if we want to add some stuff in the, so there we go, .env is also here. And if I want to add some dev dependency, it's very simple. So it's rush add, and then if I do help, sorry, yes, probably was correct. So if you see that's one, if we just add dash dash dev, it will add it as dev dependency. And because we're using, well, I want to use TypeScript, I'm going to just say rush add dash p package. So it's going to be TypeScript, TypeScript. Yes, I'm going to add TypeScript. I want probably to add node, and also type for the node and type for a script. So I'm going to just add, okay, I made a mistake. I just add TypeScript to the dependencies, and I wanted to add it to the dev dependency, but I'll do it in a few seconds. So I'm going to just add types, and then add express type slash node, and I'm also going to add, well, dash dash dev. I'm also going to add one more thing, which is ref, to really just go through just cleaning, which you will see in a few seconds. So I'm going to add all of them. Okay, it doesn't like it. It is fine. Probably I need to add them one by one. Okay, good. So we have dev dependencies with a few libraries, and we have dependencies. And notice that we have TypeScript on both of them. I'm going to just really be very lazy and just remove it from here. Nothing fancy. because we're using .env, because we're having express, we're going to use what is it called? We're going to use TypeScript, so we kind of know what we're going to have. This is a very, very basic one. So we're going to have start, which is going to do something, and then I'm also going to have build. So build is pretty much the same thing, so we know it's TypeScript, so we're going to say tsc well, we can use npx tsc is going to build it, or we can just say tsc. We will keep it like this for a few seconds, and then we're going to have clean command as well. I'm in my clean because we use rimref. We want just to clear some directories, to be honest. So we're going to say rimref package is actually a very famous one. If you have never worked with it, I am going to say rimref, and it's going to delete some directories. It's well used. So okay, going back there, I want to delete, for example, if there's a this directory, if there is, I don't know, build, or if we have output. We might not have really all of them, but let's keep it as it is. And also we are going to use TypeScript. So if we look at our backend express, and let me quickly create some files so you can see everything in action. So I'll do a make directory src, and inside src, let's just really create touch index.ts. Okay, we have project and src, we have index.ts. I will not really type everything here because probably you will be bored, so I'll copy and paste what I had in place. I'll just put it here. It really does nothing. It's just going to import express and .env, and then configure the .env, create the app, use the port from the .env file, which we don't have it at the moment, and go into the root endpoint and just type a message. Nothing fancy. And then it shows some messages. Inside the src, I will just get out now. So I'm in the backend express. I'm going to just create .env file. So now that we have .env file, so our port will be 8000 or any other port you want to use. I'll close this one. So this is the port. I'll close this one. We are using TypeScript. We just want to have tsconfig as well. One way of doing it is npx tsc init. It will create us probably it is -- there we go. So we have tsconfig in the root directory. So you're in the backend express, if you can see backend express, and we have tsc. Why not to use, I don't know, ES 2022? We don't really want to use anything there. We just have it for the sake of argument. And then we have out dir somewhere. Okay, there we go. So we have out dir, which let's use this. And now if we're coming back to the package.json, we can have our build as npx tsc, and start will be dist and then /index.js. Going back to our commands, now we have build, we have start, we have test, which is really does nothing, and then we have clean. Let's check all of them. Usually in this occasion, you can just because you have npm installed, you can use npm run build, and it's going to build you in a this directory index.js, and then I can do npm run start, and the permission denied. So let's just quickly see why permission is denied. Because we forgot to just put node here. It's not a runnable file, so it's node dist index.js, and let's just do this one. Now we have our server is running in this port, copying this port and going back to our browser and then pasting it here. We have Express with TypeScript, all good. And let's just stop the server for time being. Coming back here, that's usually how you were doing it, or I was doing it if I was working on one project. But because now we're using Rush, we have different set of commands. One of them is to, if you are in one of the packages, then and you want to run one of these commands, then you can use rush x and then any of these things. So if I want to do, if you want to use, for example, test, I can do rush x test, and all it does, it's going to run this command. And instead of npm run npm run test or npm test, you can use rush x. The reason we're using rush x, you will see in a few minutes. If you remember at the beginning of the video, we're using rush. Rush is when you want to do a specific command related to rush. Rush x is those script or the command specific to a project. Because we are inside a project in a directory, then we should use rush x. You will see the difference when we have some commands out of here. So now that we have this one, I can also do rush x build. So we are building something, we can have rush x clean, which is really going to clean this directory. I mean, we only have dist, so let's really get rid of everything else. We don't really have nothing. And we can just do rush x clean. It will remove this directory. So we have only src. And what else we can do here? So before every start, we can also build it, then start. So we can just say rush x build and then run the project. So rush x start. It's very simple. So it's doing the build and the start. Our server is running. If I go to our browser, I will just refresh again. Everything works fine. Good. So we have one project, everything is working. Let's create another project and put them together. In the rush.json, we need to add a project. One way of doing it is to add it here. The other way is to create project, then add it to the projects array. So I am going back from the backend express because backend express is working fine. And I'm going to use a React application. For that one, I prefer to use create React app just for this demonstration. And one way of doing it is to npx create React app, and my app will be my app, and the template would be TypeScript. So let's call this one frontend React. We can call it anything. I'm going to add this one. Need to install the following packages. Create React app. Do you want to install? Yes, because it's npx, it doesn't matter. Template TypeScript. Let's move on. Okay, something is happening, which is good. Going back, well, that was a debugging of create React app. I don't remember when was the last time I used it. That's why. And now I'm going to really close all of this stuff. We don't need most of these files. Inside the projects, we have front end React. So I am going to really copy this one and call this one front end React, and then it will be the same thing pretty much. Okay, everything is installed. We're not gonna do any of this stuff. We will go to the, okay, let me close actually our backend. We have added this one. I'm going to close this one as well. So the project's front end React. I'll go back to close the backend. I'll just see the front end code. In the front end, we have the name of the project. We have some dependencies. We have some script. So we have, if you remember, I will open this file, package.json, from the backend project. So we have test, we have start, we have build. So we have build, start, test. And some projects have different things. We have clean here. We're gonna add clean probably there as well. I am going to leave everything as it is because I don't really care this much. I care at the moment what is other things are doing or what is the latest version or not. Let's go to cd packages. Okay, actually we are in the packages, so let's go to front end, and we can do quite a few things. We can just run npm, but we don't want to run npm. One thing I would do out of the badge is we're not using npm, so I'll remove package.json. I'll delete it, and I'll keep everything else as they are. If you remember, if we wanted to run a command from a package, the command was rush.x. So rush.x, let's build it, and it's going to build the project for us. I am very much interested to see where is it going to build it. It's actually going to build it in apparently that build directory, if I'm not mistaken. Target, do we have out dir? No, we don't have it, so let's keep things as they are for time being. There we go. So everything is in the build directory, and now we can just say npm the build folder is ready to be deployed. You may serve it with static server, and then, well, if we want to have this one, we can. Why not? We learn how to add a dev dependency, and we're gonna do it. So it is rush add serve. We're not going to use as a global because this is specific to this project. However, I'm aware of serve package. You can use it for anything, but we don't want to use it for anything at the moment. So let's just use rush add serve and then dash dash dev. It's going to add, sorry, I just forgot to put dash p here, and it's going to add this serve to the dev dependency of our project. There we go. So now that we have this one, we can start the project very simply. If you want to serve the latest one. Okay, it's going to install other packages as well, so I'll keep this one as it is for time being. Okay, good. I'll explain all of them and tell you what happened all the way. So if you want to serve, we can just have this command serve, and then we have serve because we created this dependency, we added this dependency, and then it will be build, I forgot what was it. So if we scroll up, if I'm not mistaken, yes, serve -s in build, because everything is in the build directory. So -s build, and then I'll put comma here. So we have two projects. Both of them has different dependencies. Both of them has different commands, which we can use rush_x or rush. And if I go to config, and if I go to command line, this is where we can just define some commands with rush, which is going to run on all of them and do some work for us. So here it's very simple. So we are going to add a command here, and the name of the command would be, let's call it clean. Remember, I'm gonna just remove this one. If in the front end we don't have clean command, we're gonna add it in a few seconds. But if I go to the root directory and do rush clean, let's see what it does. It says this command doesn't exist. Actually, we have add, we have change, we have check, deploy, init, auto installer, which we're going to get back to it, install link, etc, etc. It doesn't really have clean, so we are going to add that one back. So we have a command, let's call it clean, and we can call it really anything. And then the command we want to run, command kind, is bulk, because we want to run it on every project we have. So I'm going to add bulk. If you want to have summary, which we're going to put summary XYZ, or I'm coming back to it in a second. And then we also have a few more things. We want to say if we miss the script in some of the packages, do you want to move on, or do you want to just throw an error? We can say, what is it called? Ignore missing script. I'll say yes. We don't want to really be very strict on this one. So if you don't have it in one of the projects like front end, just move on. And the last one we might need to add, do you want to run it as a parallel? Yes, of course. Let's call it enable parallelism, which is true. Let's just not leave this one as it was. So the summary is, we can say this command clean up all the build directory from TypeScript. So now we have clean command. Now if I come here and then say rush clean, then it goes. Front end didn't have it, so it moved on. Backend has the clean command and it could run it. Remember this one. This is very useful if you are already in a packages project. Sorry, where am I? So if I'll do ls, if I go to projects and then go to front end, I have two options here. If I do rush_x, then means, let me close this one. If I go to front end rush_x, I only have access to this command, nothing else. If I want to run a command from rush, then means global commands belong to rush. I don't need to go to the root directory. I can run it from anywhere inside the rush demo directory, which is really the root directory. So if I'm really a few steps in, nested, still fine. So if I do rush clean, again, it will work because it goes and find the closest rush.json, which is here, which is on the root directory, and then it knows, okay, this project has a rush.json, it's using rush, and then it goes and look for the command we are asking, and it will does it for us. I would do the same thing probably here as well. So I will just say clean, and I'll do rimref, and let's clean the build. In this example, I put comma here. We need to add rimref also to the front end, so it's rush --p rimref rush.dev. I'm in the front end. Let me first of all do rush clean. Well, I'm not going to do rush clean. Let me quickly create clean the build here by running this one. It's cleaning this directory, build directory, and rush x clean. It only clean because I ran rush x. It's only going to run this command. It doesn't have any impact on the backend. Backend already doesn't have it because we removed it a few minutes ago. But if I now do rush rebuild, now we have this on the backend. We have built on the front end. If I'm in the front end and do rush x clean, just to make sure we are on the same page, it's only going to remove from the backend dot build, and I think actually yes it does. It didn't refresh it, so it only removed it from the front end. The backend still has the file, which is good. Now I'm gonna just go and rebuild it one more time. Just to recap, we have learned how to add projects to Rush. We've learned how to add dependencies or libraries to a project in a Rush. We've learned how to run some of the commands in the Rush package with Rush X. Also, we have learned how to run some global commands. If you want to have global commands, we can add them to the commands in the command line JSON inside the config Rush, and this one will be globally available if you want to run a bulk command or different types of command, which we are going to see. But I think that would be enough for intro to rush.js. The tool is very strong and it's going to give you a lot of benefits. My friends, I'm going to stop here and let you digest all of this information. I think it was a little bit long, but I hope you get a lot of cool stuff and cool features from the rush.js. Rush.js is very useful when you're going to use monorepo, specifically with JavaScript projects, TypeScript and JavaScript. It's very powerful. It really speed up a lot of processes in your projects, in your monorepo. Let me know if you're using the same thing or different tools in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video.